Lynskey for OneWrestling.com, and I've got a very, very special guest with me this evening, Nigel McGuinness. Welcome back.
In it to win it. What's up, Sir Lynskey of Derby? How are you, pal?
I'm very good, mate. How are you? Been a while.
Good, mate. Nice to see your weight loss is going well after our last discussion about you juicing. I think you took that out of context, mate. You think I was thinking about something else?
Maybe. The shoulders are getting there. So, listen.
Yes.
All I've heard, and it's been good. Do you know what? Let's be honest. It's been mixed reviews, but nothing bad. Is your DVD? Does that make sense? Mixed reviews, but not bad reviews.
I guess so. What have been the less positive reviews?
The less positive reviews have maybe been a little bit on the sad side.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there is definitely elements of tragedy in it. CM Punk texted me 4 words: "You're a depressing sod." That was
That's rich coming from him.
His viewpoint. But yeah, it's as I said, it's not it's not a comedy. I mean, there are comedic elements to it, but like all great comedy, it's based in tragedy. So it's not the end of the world, though. I like to think it ends up on a positive. You've seen it, mate. You're in it as well, obviously.
Thank you. Yeah, 57 minutes and But can you do me a favour? I mean, I have seen it, but can I have a copy?
Yeah, I've got one around here, mate. Now I am a bit of a magician, so I don't know. We'll see if we can get this.
Send it through.
Right, over it. You got it? There we are. Very nice.
Awesome. Thanks. Can you sign it? I'm joking. That'd have been a ricket right there, wouldn't it?
I'll give you a free one. I won't give you a signed one for free, though.
Okay, well that's okay. So let's talk about it. I have watched it, and like I say, I think we've probably spoken about this before. You've got this self. I really want to word it, but I don't want to word it in a bad way. But really, yeah, like you say, it is tinged with tragedy, and it really, like, you look at yourself as a not a failure as such, but although you come across as, like, because you haven't made it to the massive, you think yourself as a failure, yet everyone around you, or your work colleagues, fans, anybody that's seen you wrestle, are like, well, why do you say that? You've done so much. You've seen the world. You've wrestled everywhere. You have really good matches. You've worked with some of the best people in wrestling. So it's sort of like people are like, oh, why do you see yourself as such a... Well, why do you think it was a bit of a failure on your part? Is it really because you just didn't reach that top spot?
I mean, ultimately, it comes back to what we consider, achieving our goals and our dreams. And when I was a 14-year-old kid, I dreamt of being a WWE wrestler and wrestling around the world and being famous and recognized on the street. And so a lot of the documentary sort of examines that notion of ambition. So I'm hoping that it will appeal not just to wrestlers, but anybody that has had a dream, whether they pursued it or didn't. And we all have to come to terms in our lives with arguably not quite living the life that we hoped. Whether you're a guy like Little Razor that started out just going to shows, or whether you're someone that reaches the top like CM Punk.
Yeah.
I think we all have to come to terms with what we get out of life versus what we put into it, So I've had a lot of people contact me who watched it that weren't wrestling fans before, actually weren't wrestling fans afterwards, but they were either in the entertainment industry, you know what I mean? And they said, I've struggled for 10 years to make it in a band, and I've got a song that's out there on iTunes, but I'm still working my regular job, and was it worth it? And there's a lot of unifying themes in it, I hope, a lot of people can identify with, you know what I mean? And that's why I put it out there, and I hope that it has that sort of positive end to it, because I don't want to be remembered as a miserable sod that complained about not getting a WWE.
No, and also, I mean, it'd be safe to say that there was other messages in there as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I talked not extensively, but I mentioned blood and the use of blood, obviously, with what happened to me. I feel there are certain changes that need to be made in wrestling, and some of them are being made, so I try and address that, and actually, that's part of me doing this tour. I'm coming over to England at the end of May. Going to
Yes.
be over for about 2 weeks. We've got 6 screenings all over the UK. If you go to heroescomedy.com, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but it's E as in Eric, R as in Roger, O as in Oscar, S as in Steve, comedy.com. It's got all the details of the screenings, where you can get tickets. They're very, very small, intimate venues. But I'm going to try and get as many people to see this as possible. There's going to be wrestling fans there. There's going to be wrestlers who are starting out, wrestlers who've been doing it for years, for their entire life. And as much as anything, it's really just a celebration of independent wrestling. What we're seeing now, with Wrestle Talk TV and with you guys and with a lot of other people, Colt Cabana, in my mind, is the epitome of an inspiration for making something of themselves outside of WWE. I mean, professional wrestling, we have this notion, and it's been synonymous. Professional wrestling is WWE, but it hasn't always been that way. And we're seeing now in the independents in England, there's a lot of great promotions that's coming up. And as I said, because of what Alex is doing there and what a few other people are doing as well, we're seeing a real sort of real vibrant scene now. So I'm hoping to tap into that and really have these sort of evenings, very intimate. There's going to be a Q&A afterwards as well. And we're just going to really celebrate independent professional wrestling, but also have a discussion about the more serious things about blood use in wrestling. And hopefully at the end of it all, when all is said and done, we'll leave having learned something, had a very important discussion, but also had a good time and leave with a smile on our face. That's the goal.
And also a bit of comedy, right?
Yeah, so we're going to be...
You and Madman Manson doing a gig?
That's right. I mean, I pay myself to go and watch Manson, right? Fantastic. He's a funny motherfucker, but we'll see what it is. It's one thing being funny in everyday life. It's another on stage when,
Yeah. I mean, I consider myself quite funny. But
funny looking.
But I couldn't stand on it. I don't think I could stand on a stage and reel off, there's got to be something. But do you not find that a lot of wrestlers, there's yourself, Steve Corino, Raven, they're all, Mick Foley, obviously, and I just think because wrestlers have so many good stories, they can just incorporate that into a comedic act.
They can, and we're going to have, obviously, a bit of a one-sided audience in the sense that probably the majority of them are going to be wrestling fans. So that's going to help out a great deal. I've been doing stand-up over here where I don't even mention the wrestling, which I think is very important for me. But A, I'm trying to move on from wrestling, but B, you don't want to just stick to the basic things and talk about, rats and things like that if you're not a wrestling fan, you don't understand.
Yeah, you're not going to know, are you? Yeah.
Right, I've done a lot of that.
Are you a comedian that's is observational comedy, or
I'm still trying to find my voice, is what it's called, finding your voice. And Chris Rock said, it takes about 10 years to really find your voice. So when you see guys like Louis C.K. who are now obviously doing real well, you're seeing the effects of 10 years of going up almost every single night. No one starts out great. Everyone starts out and they come.
Isn't that wrestling?
There's so many parallels, and I think that's why a lot of the wrestlers sort of find that sort of transition easy, and they feel, oh, maybe that's something I can do as well. With the road trips and doing it for little. I just did a show at a casino in Arizona. It was 9.5 hour drive each way, really just for gas money, and but it was a good crowd, and I kind of bombed with my opener, and I'm like, oh, geez. But then, went back to some tried and tested stuff. So it's tough to find that happy medium because you don't want to go up and just do jokey jokes. That's in comedy terms, that's the same thing as going out there and go, right, lock up, Stone Cold Stunner, I go for the rock bottom. It's the same sort of thing. You've got to develop your own sort of stuff, take something from them that works, but obviously not just copy them. So I'll try that, and if that doesn't work, I'm just going to go and do old Dean Martin material. Take my wife, please take her.
Please take it. Yeah. Oh, jeez. But yeah, it's
Right.
the parallels are so similar, aren't they? You know, you start
Absolutely,
off,
absolutely.
you travel miles and miles and miles to get there, and you please, please, Brian, give me another shot. Ah, yeah, that's and that's probably the same true for that. Yeah, Nigel.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
you will always have Liverpool. But yeah, but what do you enjoy more? Is
Well,
that a difficult one?
um, yeah, I mean, there's just so many factors involved. You know, I never wanted to be specifically a stand-up comedian, whereas I obviously spent my entire life trying to be a professional wrestler. So I had a
Right.
far more invested in being a professional wrestler. I found it more difficult to be a professional wrestler because, you know, getting a crowd reaction in front of 35 apathetic fans in, you know, Bumblefuck, Kentucky is very different than, doing a knock knock who's there, or a guy goes into a bar, or whatever it is, where the punchline's going to get a few little giggles. It's very different. The art form is different. I'm not saying it's any easier necessarily in the long run. You know, to be a great comedian does take years and years and years, but I think to get to that stage where you can get a couple of laughs, it's probably easier in comedy than it is in wrestling to get to that same sort of level. I think
Unless
the
you like
learning
Ryan
curve.
Manson.
Well, we'll see,
Unless
mate. He might be a natural. You know, he's probably done something better than I am for sure.
But yeah. So let's go back to the wrestling, because there are a few things that you've sort of like you've started to do, or you've got stuff in the pipeline that's coming up.
Yeah,
So let's talk a bit about that. Come on, what were these? Can we
I
talk
mean,
about them?
sure, absolutely. I'm involved with an organisation out here called the Wrestling Cares Association, and it's set up by David Jackson, who does a lot of charity work out here in Los Angeles. And basically, put that bird away, will you?
That's
Fucking hell.
yours, not mine.
Oh yeah, hold on a second. Well, look at that, Vince McMahon. Why will you not take up my job offer? I'm doing a screening tour in May, honestly, sometimes.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh man,
Take
seriously.
no for an answer, that fella. Yeah.
Nah.
WrestleMania coming up, wants me to come in and no. Put Undertaker over. I said, fuck no.
Really.
Fuck that guy. What's he ever done? So, I'm working for a guy called David Jackson out here, and it's called the Wrestling Cares Association. And the beauty of it is that every show they run, half of the profits go to a local charity. So it's real good.
So that's
And
nice.
yeah, we're running this year-long tournament called the Race for the Ring, and it's kind of akin to the Super 8 or a lot of those sort of tournaments. But instead of being like a one-night or one-weekend tournament, it goes over a long period. We've got 32 top guys. Les Thatcher, the guy that trained me originally over here in the States, he's involved as well. He pretty much handpicked the 32 guys to start out. Some of them you'll have heard of, others you won't have heard of, but they're all solid guys, and they're all entertaining guys. And what we're going to try and do is present something a little bit different. We're trying to get back towards the sporting side of it. We're not going to try and tell people it's this or that. You know what I mean? The cat or the hat, excuse me, the rabbit is well and truly out of the hat now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we can present it more like UFC, where we're getting away from the nonsense, getting away from the run-ins and all that sort of stuff. That you see far too much of in pro wrestling nowadays, and get back to the sporting aspect of it. So we're trying a new thing. Every match in the opening brackets is going to be 10 minutes long. And it's not to one pinfall or submission. It's the most number of pinfalls or submissions that you can get in 10 minutes. So it's a little bit different. We're trying to tap into that thing that you see in sports, where obviously in a football game, you've got like 90 minutes, or a basketball game. I don't watch basketball. However long it is, you've got those last 5 minutes where you can have a lot of excitement. You don't get in wrestling unless it's sort of like, one of those hour-long marathons.
Right.
So yeah, if you go to, I believe it's wrestlingcares.com, there's a website there. It's called Race to the Ring. You can follow me on @McGuinnessNigel on Twitter. I'll be putting out a lot more information like that. The first show is in here in Los Angeles. It's going to be a real grade A sort of thing. It's going to be a red carpet. Maria Kanellis is hosting it. Colt Cabana's going to be there. We've got a lot of great guys. We've got Davey Rich versus Kyle O'Reilly. That's going to be a fantastic match as well. As I said, we're going to try and do something a little bit different. You know, we're not just going to go, here's another tournament with another, bunch of guys wrestling another same old style. Try it. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to be involved and excited moving forward because we're hoping to open up a school out here in Los Angeles as well, to where I'll be the head trainer and, we'll be trying to fast track some guys into making some money in this business, and that's obviously going to, reflect well on us. So that's the goal with that, and doing a few other things out here as well, some of which I can't talk at the moment, but you'll hear about as they come along. And obviously, still involved with Ring of Honor. I'm very excited about that. We're going to be in New York, April 5th and 6th. Going to be a lot of other people there in New York who are wrestling fans that weekend for some reason. I'm not sure. I think there's a big show
going on the 7th or something.
Yeah, something like there's a big sort of get together with something. Who knows? Anyway, long story short, it'll be a good weekend. There's going to be some fantastic matches. I'm the matchmaker there at Ring of Honor now, and so I'm really excited to still be involved with that company. I think we're really going leaps and bounds now. Delirious is full at the helm, and it's great. It's funny. People watch the movie. I watched it with Rob Van Dam here in my apartment the other day. He brought his wife over. And after we finished, he was like, oof, oh, that's an inspiring movie. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's what he said.
But then when the boys, as I say, I mean, obviously when I watched it, when it first came out, we had like a 30-minute chat, and I gave an honest opinion, and it was like, it was ups and downs, and it's just like, I think with myself, you're like, you like, I'll look at someone like yourself and think, oh wow, you've done this, you've been there, you've been all around the world, you have had exposure, and it's like, well, okay, maybe you're not satisfied with that, but it's just like, you've still done so much.
Well, I think had I done that and then just stopped and that was it, I did that and then I just stopped, would be one thing. But the way that I had to stop and, the couple of, pieces of misfortune that happened in my career, I think made it a little bittersweet, very difficult to just accept the way it turned out. But Rob texted me the next day and was like, hey, the movie was great. I thought it was awesome and I wish you all the best with it and everything else like that. And that seems to be a unifying theme as well. That it's so raw and so emotional that immediately after you watch it, you're sort of, you're almost weighed down by that.
Yeah.
Just, the massive emotion that's thrust upon you. But give it a day, give it 2 days, and that kind of washes off you. And what you're left with is just, that sort of, the real complexity of human life is that it's not just, there's no simple resolutions in life, and if you're searching for that, you'll never find it. You're not going to find anything that's going to make you happy for the rest of your life. Just not.
That's what they say, though, isn't it? You think if you had £1 million, you'd be happy, but then you just want something after you got that £1 million, you'd be searching for something else to make you more happy.
How does that song go? If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife.
Yeah.
How's that go?
I know. Hopefully, I've been there.
It's about marrying an ugly bird.
So oh, if only I could edit myself, that'd be out. But so you're still involved. You're still heavily involved. The only thing you're not doing is lacing up the pair of boots.
Exactly. My original point when I got about that was that it was a bad time in my life. Very disappointed, very upset. But it got me to be here. I'm in Los Angeles. It's a beautiful place. I've made a few bob off for selling the documentary. Certainly not enough to say.
It's still available, right? People can still buy this.
Still get a few of them. I've got a few left here in a box that I'm plugging out, and I'll be taking a few over hopefully to England. Perhaps. Long story short, yeah, you can still get your hands on them. I've been talking to a few people about distributing it as well to get it out into sort of the mainstream.
Yeah.
This is what I really want to do. I want it to cross over. I don't want it to be just another wrestling documentary. I want people to watch it who aren't necessarily wrestling fans. And I've had a few people who've watched it that have gone, I never really got it. And I still don't get it in the sense that I'm not going to watch wrestling because of it. But I understand now why people might commit their life to it. I see that there's more to it than just
Yeah,
two big jacked guys pretending to beat each other up badly, and that's as one of the themes I sort of address in the documentary is trying to explain to people why we do it,
yeah.
because they don't get it, because all they see is just the extraneous things. They catch 5 seconds of somebody lying there for 20 seconds while somebody runs and jumps on top of them, and they go, "Oh, it's phony," But for
Yeah.
some reason
It's not.
we that, and I don't.
It's not about those 15, 20 minutes in the ring, is it? It's about the life that surrounds it, and and it's like, I mean, I'm about retired. I've cut down as much as I can do. Obviously, I'm waiting to lose this weight because you've promised me something if I lose this weight, so I'm keeping you to that, which you're going to regret. Uh, you should. You were there
how,
going, oh, I'm going to
how,
win this one. you know,
how, legitimately, how are you doing on that?
it's going down a bit, but it's going down.
It is going down.
Yeah. So,
Swear,
huh?
swear on your life it's going down. Don't
I,
pay me.
I'm not. We've spoken about this.
When people lie, their voice raises.
Never. No, but this isn't about me. It's about you.
I want to make it about you, though, mate. I want to make you famous.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try that one next January.
What's that? Hey, I tell you, though, truthfully, I don't know if this fits in here or whatever else. I was talking to a guy here that is involved in wrestling and wanted to lose some weight, and he said there's an app called loseit.com, and it's a website as well. And I haven't looked at it, but check it out because he's lost a lot of weight on it, and he said it's easy, it's simple, and if you go out anywhere, it says what you can eat, what you can't eat, and stuff
Okay.
like that. For some reason, it just works. There's a little app on your phone as well. You just plug it in, you see where you are. And
Yeah.
anyway, give it a shot, mate, because I want you to come and visit. And you
Well,
can't visit.
I'm going to put this out now, right? I'm going to say this now, right? Nigel said to me months ago. I mean, obviously, we know I've got health issues and I've had health issues. And Nigel said to me, he said, if you lose that weight, you can come out to LA. He said, I will open my doors and you can come to LA. So, and it's just like, right, we've known each other years, so it's like, right, I need to get one up on you on that. So I need to, I mean, starve myself.
No,
But
don't starve yourself. No, you eat healthy. You do some
I
exercise.
do it properly.
Absolutely, do it right so it stays off. I've got some scales by the door, and
Yeah,
I've got your designated weight. And if you're over it, then you're not
you're
fucking
not
coming in.
coming in. Right,
Fuck off.
sorted. We'll see. We'll see. Give me 6 months.
All right.
Anything else, Nige? We've got
Really,
obviously.
mate, no, just as I said, the biggest deal really now is hope getting as many people out to those screenings as
Yeah,
possible when I come over in the UK. Eros Comedy, EROSCOMEDY.com, eroscomedy.com. Go there, check it out, get some tickets, come out and support, come out and watch a great movie that everybody's been talking about. Have a great night. As I said, I'm hoping there's going to be some people there you'll recognise from the wrestling community. It'll just be an enjoyable evening for everybody involved. So please
it's
do
like
come out
yeah,
and yeah, revel in being a professional wrestling fan.
because you're doing one in London. I know London, Birmingham, Glasgow,
Newcastle as well, and there's
Newcastle. Yeah,
Belfast, I believe, as well. But yeah,
Belfast is the last one, right?
that's right. Go and check it out and get yourself tickets and get them squared away because as I said, they're intimate venues. There's not going to be a whole lot of tickets available, but I want to get as many people out as possible.
Brilliant. And if people want to reach you, I'm doing my Colt Cabana bit now. And if people want to reach you, you have Twitter. You're
Yeah, at McGuinness Nigel. You can follow me on there. I'm on Facebook as well. NigelWrestling.com. You can go there and check out what sort of merchandise I've got left that I'm peddling out and about. Exactly. Get your hands on one of the last copies of that.
yeah.
And yeah, there we are. Just be happy and enjoy your life because it doesn't last forever. We lost Percy Pringle this week,
Yeah.
and it's the older you get, unfortunately, the more that happens, and certainly in and around the wrestling business, the number of people that I was friends with that I've lost. Don't get miserable about it. Coming from a
You'll
miserable
end up
side,
like you.
but just bear it in mind and understand that we are all only here for a limited amount of time. So enjoy your life, be happy, and have a positive influence on people.
Brilliant. Nigel, thank you for joining us.